Hey, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to do a hopefully quick video. I always say that and they end up being pretty long, but just do a couple of quick videos before I go play golf. But I just was thinking about the debate last night with Nathan Thompson and Fight the Flat Earth, and honestly, I've heard his name before, but I didn't subscribe to his channel until last night, and he came like hard. Like he is almost like singing a song, with all the flat Earth points and all that, and it looks like he's spent some time thinking about the optical theories and apologetics, so credit to him. But he made a great point that got me thinking about something that I've been noticing more, is that he mentioned the Bible, and it looks like he's somebody who's drawn to the Bible as well, and uses it for further affirmation that the earth is flat. And he was like saying that, citing NASA and citing the Bible are essentially equivalent, because, fundamentally what NASA has produced, or at least is contributing to this, a lot of it is historical. It's not like necessarily like real time and stuff that we can chew on right now. I know that people will talk about the Himawari, and but just focusing on NASA, like the American Space Agency, the stuff that people are citing are things that have happened in the past, especially the images and stuff. And so, so a lot of the thing, and the Bible is obviously, the historical account. So like, it's like stuff in the past. So in many ways, people citing, he made the point of like citing the Bible is just as sort of scientifically rigorous as citing NASA, and all their contributions. And so it's not like day to day, what I call kind of off the shelf technologies that we can all experience, and a lot of stuff in the Bible is the same way. It's very theoretical. It's the spirit world, which already, no one can wrap their head around. Space exploration is easier to wrap your head around than just what is a spirit, and what is the spirit world. So dealing with like, esoteric concepts, in the Bible for sure, and many in space is the same, and so dark matter, dark energy, black holes, the vastness of space, all this kind of stuff, things apparently light years away and all that. So it's similar, and it's a fair statement to have that analogy of using NASA support is, and people get on our case for using the Bible as support for the flat earth. It's, we can cancel those out, and stick to discussion of things that's literally now or in front of us that we can do, with our own hands and see with our own eyes and all that kind of stuff. And so to me, that's a great point, and that is, people can say that, they're ball earthers, and it's not necessarily because of NASA, or not at all because of NASA, but, and I can, people can say they're flat earthers because of like common sense and all that. But I would say a big reason I'm in this discussion in the first place, but also there is a very substantial portion of my, confirmation that the earth is flat is from the evil that's in the world, and that evil that's given a narrative in the Bible. And so the verses about, flat earth and, the firmament and all that are just even more, it's kind of like icing on the cake. And so, there is a great deal of affirmation that comes from the Bible for me personally. And so I have quite a long history with it, so it's not a new thing for me. So it's like kind of reconnecting with an old friend kind of thing. And so the thing that I want to talk about, though, that I noticed, and it's becoming more and more obvious, is that certain defenders of ball earth do not want the Bible to be a flat earth book. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, why? Like I can understand Christian ballers with that stance, because then that would have to, tweak their worldview quite a bit. And I'm assuming a lot of them are involved, in education or in the government or whatever. And I'm not trying to like be rude, but they have an invested interest in making sure that the earth is a ball, for their own life and for their own sanity probably too. And so that makes sense, because like they want to still, derive benefits from the Bible and being a Christian, and then, not have their world literally turned upside down, which happens to anybody who enters into flat earth and is here to stay, so to speak. And so, but the sort of atheist ballers who don't, like very outspoken about how the Bible is not a flat earth book, like Fight the Flat Earth, which seems odd because if I was, in his shoes, and I'm glad I'm not, but, I would be like, if I really thought the earth was a ball, I would want, and I was like a person who's atheist or like anti-God or in the least like anti, the Christian God, I would be like, yeah, that thing definitely says flat, put that in the bucket, in the quote unquote dumpster fire, put that in too, we all the flat earth theory, put that in there, put the Bible in there, throw the Quran in there, that's coming out now that it supports flat earth. Throw the Torah in there, throw everything you can in there. Let's just do all this in one foul swoop, let's get rid of all this stuff, because it's obvious that the earth is a ball. I'm speaking as if I was a ball earth defender. But so again, this is why it's very easy to be a flat earther, because it's very easy to tell just qualitatively that the flat earth is true, because no one would act like the way that they're acting. I just really think they need a PR person. They need to have their own conference, honestly, but like behind closed doors, like just realize that the stuff that they're doing and the way that they're behaving and the stance that they take on many, many things, or the stance that they don't take on a lot of things, makes it obvious for people with even just a like amateur level of discernment of like human behavior and stuff to know that they're hiding something, and they're just kind of going with whatever the crowd, demands. And so Fight the Flat Earth grouping, backing, and not to just pick on him, but people in his position, they're backed by just atheist ballers. They're backed by Christian ballers. And so, they have to like kind of pander to that group. Like they can't just, throw their Christian ballers under the bus, because that might be a fairly significant chunk of their backing. Like I believe MC Toon, who interviewed me on his channel, is a Christian baller. And so there's a lot of people who are ballers, obviously, on the earth, and then a majority of the Christian world would be ballers, whether they know it or not, even if they know that they shouldn't be. So that they have to do that, and so again, it doesn't make sense if a person sincerely believes that the earth is flat or is a ball, and feels like that religious people, or just has an aversion towards like religious people, and comes from an atheist sort of background, like I believe Fight the Flat Earth does, you would want the Bible thrown into the mix, and like you would want it to be sort of puffing its chest as a flat earth book, throw that into the garbage as well. And so that's where something else is going on. And I remember I saw him on a live stream, and somebody was asking him like, would you rather interview Trump or a flat earther, or a Trump supporter or a flat earther? And he's like, he just declined to answer. And it's like, it's just a joke, and like, you can tell that they just have to be very, very careful about what they say, because their supporters will be all different types of people. And so once you're a person like that, you're a gatekeeper, and I'm not necessarily saying it's like evil all the time, but it's like, it's one of the many, many evidences that we are now picking up on, that you're a gatekeeper. If you're a person who just doesn't want to play along with a joke and just, make a innocent, retort, you're just pandering to your followers, and so that's not a truth seeker. And so even if it wasn't flat earth or ball earth related, I wouldn't follow somebody like that, because that they're just speaking based on the consensus of their followers, and stuff. And so, or grow their following, or whatever their, desire is, but it's not the truth, like just the raw truth and stuff. And so people who pursue the truth, do it, in a certain way, and they just speak openly, and it's like, people who feel like we've stumbled upon many truths and have good reason to believe them, we all speak openly, because, the days of just, walking on eggshells, tiptoeing, dancing around things, and in many ways, just the truth of just knowing that this existence is pure evil, like it's boring, maybe it's a better way to describe it, and it's stupid, and I don't have to like, that's why I kind of, have to isolate myself, or have just been, just through my beliefs, I've had to isolate myself, because, I'm not like shy anymore. I don't like feel the need to like hide my feelings about how this existence is just dumb, and it's like not everybody wants to be around that vibe, and I think that that's totally fine. But I don't have to like lie about that anymore. And I think a lot of people are getting the confidence, especially through flat Earth, and which implies God's existence immediately. You don't have to lie anymore. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to like act dumb. We don't have to like pretend like this existence is virtuous, because it's ridiculous. It's dumb. Like it's literally stupid. Like working for 65, 70 years of your life to have dubious health and like still possibly debt, and then enjoy 10 or 15 years of just whatever is left of your body after being absolutely sodomized by corporate America. That makes no sense. So that's dumb. And that'd be one thing if the work that a person was doing was actually like edifying and like all that kind of stuff, beneficial for the mind and stuff. But it's like opposite of that. So it's awful for the body and absolutely destroys the mind as well. It's lack of no creativity. You're just essentially a number and a robot, and that to me again is part of the ecosystem needed for the mark of the beast. And so ballers, and again, just people who pursue truth. If the earth is a ball, and that's a truth that's undeniable, and NASA will back that, and which is a big chunk of the government, and all the governments would be aligned with that worldwide, that would be the case, and then that would just be the reality. And then if the Bible makes claims of either being flat earth book or being ambiguous, that's a problem. Even if it's ambiguous, that is enough to dismiss the Bible. If the Bible is so ambiguous or poetic about two great lights under a firmament, and that's not actually what's happening, then why would you trust a God like that? So even Christian ballers approaching me, you guys are making it easier to be flat earthers because you're not acknowledging things that are obviously stated. You don't have to believe that it's true, but that's obviously stated in the Bible in the very first few words. And again, God is doing this on purpose. If God exists, he would be the author of the earth, whatever it is, and then all the storylines, and especially the major deception. So of course God's not going to write in the first line, earth is flat, earth is a ball, because he's behind the deceptions. And so the everything that's happening in the world, and I'm just speaking from my vantage point, is reaffirming flat earth. Like almost everything, and this is what the Bible says, you cannot do anything against the truth. You can only be for the truth, ultimately. Like you can only help the truth, even if you're against it, because the harder you push against it, it forces all of us to make a decision, and like I can't be around people who do not speak out against the evils of the world, because there's so many of them and it's obvious, and against the enslavement through central banking. And so, like just using that litmus test alone, not necessarily it means that I pick one shape or the other. I have to be drawn towards flat earthers because there's an implicit financial deception and a major intellectual deception and spiritual deception. But so I have no choice. And so it would be confusing if like both sides were just kind of apathetic towards the financial piece. And or even worse for me is if the ballers were like aggressively calling out the financial deception in the world. You will not hear them speak of it in any clarity at all. And so, again, if you find me one that's a baller and is like, and I can go to their channel and things that they're public about, rallies or protests, they're very outspoken against, that coordinated deception worldwide. I would like to do a hangout with that person, and we will not agree on the shape of the earth probably ever, but we will still have a lot in common, and I still think that, again, if the mark of the beast comes out, I think if there are people like that, they would not be major candidates to take the chip. So they may, in my opinion, be heavily indoctrinated with ball earth, but they won't go to the moral lows, the low principle state, and just bend over for a government that's requiring you to put something in their body that is not necessary. And so I'm thankful for me, and I think God's making the truth very, very obvious because there's so much deception, but that's not the case. Everything that's happening is pointing towards flat earth and the Bible, and on top of that, to up the ante even more, that the Bible's true. Because again, a lot of Christians are against looking at the Bible in any kind of detail. I tell people who have been in the Christian faith their whole life, I send them videos and just, Bible verses and, people who've posted, hundreds of verses. Every verse in the Bible supports, a flat stationary earth. They're just like, they don't care, and it's like, I'm not even saying they're evil, but they just don't care, and to me that actually reaffirms again that the earth is flat, because that doesn't make sense for a person who is somebody who follows the Bible and claims to be a Christian to not be interested in such a major topic that can be easily proven with many, many verses. There's a lot of things that are harder to understand in the Bible than what stance it takes on the shape of the earth, like the timing of the end times, whether the end times will even happen. To some extent, even Jesus' skin color is a little bit more ambiguous, even though it's implied because all the prophets are dark-skinned. But even certain things like that are still major, major truths with incredible implications are hid more than the shape of the earth, which is like, it's obvious. Like, if you really care about the Bible and take it, not even necessarily excessively literally, but just look at the vast support of flat earth, there is no notion anywhere of a spinning oblate spheroid tilted at 66.6 degrees complementary angle, hurtling through space unobstructed. That, I'm sorry, like, I'm sorry to like break the news to you, that is not there anywhere. And if that was the case, God would let us know for sure. And so he made the deception. That's why in the first line of the Bible, he did not just say the earth is this shape, and or give much more clear language. And so people at the earlier time, again, if you're a person who believes in God, they were more connected to God. So like, things were not as mysterious. They didn't need to even look at the Bible for that. They just knew that they were not moving and that God existed because he made them. But now in this age where you can't talk about God, God has removed himself. And in my opinion, he removes himself for a time. And then he's going to make like a grand entrance, in my opinion, through his second coming. And in my opinion, the rapture, which I believe will be the thing that really kicks off the end times and creates enough confusion worldwide to give the governments enough of a reason and authority to implement the mark of the beast. So I just want to get that out there. Hope everyone's doing well. Take care. Bye.